Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a tutorial on how I do my everyday foundation routine. So if you guys are interested in learning what I do, then keep on watching. Guys, so let's go ahead and get started. Just a little disclaimer, if you guys notice that my face is a little bit red, that's because I just washed my face and actually did a few extractions and did like a mini facial, so that's why you see some redness in some areas. So nothing to be, you know, concerned about. So what I'm gonna do is just start by clipping my hair back. I will a lot of times also just tuck it behind my ear. However, when I'm applying my foundation, sometimes it can get a little messy. So I'm just gonna use some prawn clips and clip my hair out of my way. Now, of course, with clean hands, I'm gonna be going in with my Neutrogena Hydra Boost Water Gel Moisturizer. And the key to any great foundation routine is making sure you're starting off with the moisturizer. Also notice that I do like to wear my nails pretty long, so instead of dipping the inside of my nail, which catches, why can I not talk today? Which catches all type of like bacteria, you know, and dirt or whatever, you want to use the back of your nail, something that you can actually clean. So I just use the back of my nail to scoop that out, or you could always use a spatula. So I'm not sure if this is like my holy grail. What do you call it? I'm not sure this is my holy grail moisturizer, but I will say I do like it because it literally has a gel-like formula. Like it's like a mix between like a serum and a moisturizer. So it feels really like refreshing whenever I apply it to my skin. All right, so then I went on ahead and applied my Sexy Mother Pucker lip gloss. Too Faced Lip Injection is another good one if you guys like a lip plumper. I like to apply my lip plumper in the beginning of my foundation routine, so that as I'm going through doing my, you know, my eyebrows and everything else, the plumper can be working on my lips, and at the end my lips will already be nice, juicy, and plump. So I already have that working, and now I'm just gonna go ahead and do my eyebrows off camera, and I'll be right back. Make sure that if you guys want to know how I do my eyebrows, you check out that video on my channel as well. All right, so I have my brows on, and now what I'm going to do is go ahead and go in with my primer. So the Karen primer that I like to use is my Tasha Stick Canvas Primer. I love this primer because it's like, it has a very thick, light cream-like consistency, but it doesn't feel super thick on the skin, and it definitely gives me that really soft look when I apply all of my makeup. So I love this primer so far. I know Tasha does have a new primer out. It's actually in the mail, so I'm excited to see what that one is like, but so far this is definitely my holy grail primer. Alright, so I already have my primer applied, and so now I'm gonna go in with my foundation. So usually if I'm gonna be wearing any type of eyeshadow, this would be the step in which I would do my eyeshadow and then do my foundation. I like to do my eyeshadow that way because if any fallout or anything happens to fall on my face, I can literally wipe it away. Whereas if I already have my foundation on and I'm having a lot of fallout issues, it's just a little bit harder for me to clean up. So if you're gonna wear eyeshadow, this is where I will go ahead and do that. However, I'm not gonna be wearing eyeshadow, okay? I might do a little bit of eyeliner, I might, but let's just go ahead and get into the foundation. Okay, so for my foundation, I like to use NARS. I love NARS as a foundation because I like something that looks very skin-like, okay? So I like a full coverage, so I understand that's not gonna give me the most natural look, but I feel like NARS is the #1 brand for me personally thus far that consistently gives me a skin-like look. Now, their favorite formula is gonna be this one, and this is the Natural Radiant Long Wear. However, I do have to mix it with their Sheer Glow just because this is in the color Caracas, and it's just a little bit too light for me, and Macao is just a little bit too dark for me, so I like to mix the two to create my perfect shade. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take my eyeshadow brush and just go into Macao in my Sheer Glow, and put a little bit of that on the back of my hand. Feel free to use a palette. I've just always been the girl that uses the back of her hand, and I probably always will be, just because it's just easier for me. So I'm just gonna get just a fair amount of this one on the back of my hand, and then I'm gonna go in with the Natural Radiant Longwear and do a few pumps of that, and then mix the two together. All right, so as you guys can see, now that I mixed the two, this one is a lot closer to my natural skin shade. So I'm just gonna use the brush and apply this to my face. Now, side note, this is where I will go in and go ahead and line up the top of my brows. Lining your brows is completely up to you. I like to, just because I like them to be super neat. So as I'm going ahead and using this brush to just put the product on my face, I'll actually take my time and also clean up the top of my brow. Now, as for my foundation brush, I have a few different brushes that are my favorite, but all of them pretty much resemble this shape. I like to use something that's kind of like a flat top kabuki, just because I like to stipple in my foundation, because like I said, I like a fuller coverage. So this is one of my Real Techniques brushes. The label or whatever has already rubbed off. However, dupes for this brush can be the Sephora Flawless Foundation Pro Brush, and I think this is number 56, or even my current favorite, which is the Juvia's Place foundation brush, which is her J1. So all of those are options for you. I'm just gonna go in with my Real Techniques because this one is clean. So just a little pro tip if you didn't know, if you want your foundation to be more full coverage, like I said, you want to use something that's like this, something that you're going to literally use to press into your skin to get a fuller coverage. If you want to go for a lighter or even a medium coverage, then you would use something that you would normally just kind of buff into your skin. But me personally, I always like a full coverage. I'm leaning more towards medium now that my face is clearing up, but I really just like my complexion to look really even. So I prefer to still stipple in my foundations. All right, so I have my foundation on. Everything is looking pretty even. So now here comes one of my favorite parts. Now this is my full on foundation routine. So this is when I'm not rushing. This is when I'm not being lazy. Some of these steps you can skip, but I'm just gonna show you guys the works. Like, this is how I should be doing my foundation every day. So I don't always take the time to color correct, but I am today because it's very important. You guys can't see my dark circles as bad on camera, but trust me, my designer bags are there. So I just like to use a little bit of color corrector. If you don't have a red or orange concealer, you can also use a red or orange lipstick. Just a little pro tip. But I'm gonna go ahead and apply just a little bit in my dark areas and then use my beauty blender to blend it out. So of course you wanna make sure your beauty blender is nice and wet, okay? Do not be one of those people that just tries to spray your beauty blender with a little bit of rose water, because it's not gonna work, okay? Your sponge needs to be drenched. Also, make sure you keep your sponge clean because you don't wanna break out. Remember, sponges are sponges, so they're gonna be able to hold and harbor bacteria. So clean your sponge on a daily basis. I could definitely do a better job at cleaning more of my brushes more often, but one thing I for sure clean every single day is my sponges. All right, so now that I have my color corrector applied, now I'm gonna go in with my all-time favorites, okay? My favorite concealer, and this is the NARS Creamy Radiant Concealer. I love this concealer. When I first got into makeup, I did not understand the hype behind this concealer. I returned this concealer 3-4 times, But I'm telling you, once they came out with those new shades, and I think it's been what, maybe 2 or 3 years since they came out with extended shades. I used to be caramel, but caramel just, it wasn't giving me what I needed. Now I'm Sucre the orange. And when I tell y'all this is the best concealer in the world, I love it because it's super full coverage. First of all, it's very full coverage. However, it's very light, okay? Like, you don't really need a lot in order to get the coverage that you want. And I love the fact that it does not crease. Like, this concealer, this formula, whoever made this at NARS knew what they were doing, because this concealer does not crease. As you guys can see, I have extreme designer bags, okay? So there are not a lot of concealers that don't crease on me, but this one, however, has remained true throughout the years and definitely my holy grail. So I like to apply some concealer underneath my eye. Depending on how dramatic I want to go, that'll determine exactly how much or how little I like to apply. And then I like to apply a little bit over my Cupid's bow, my chin, the bridge of my nose. And as you guys can see, I'm using dots for that because I don't want a lot. And then the center of my forehead to give me that overall glow. So as you guys can see, we're highlighting like the middle of our face. Now, I don't usually contour every day, especially not with a cream stick, but today I am. I'm gonna be going in with Cameroon from Beauties Place in her contour stick, and just giving my face a little bit of dimension, okay? I'm not really full on contouring. I will be doing a video shortly showing you guys how I really contour my face, but this is just really giving my face some balance. So I go along my cheekbones, a little bit around my forehead, and a little bit at the bottom of my chin. Okay, so next we're gonna go ahead and blend this out. But before you blend out your foundation, before I blend out my foundation, I have to make sure I use some type of water. So Rose Water by Mario Badescu is another good water you can use to help blend out your concealers. But this coconut water, my mom gave me this. I believe she got it from like TJ Maxx. And this is another thing I love to help blend out my concealer. You want to use some type of water just because it helps blend it out so much better. Do not, however, use Fix Plus. I have tried that numerous of times. And for whatever reason, when I try to blend my makeup out with Fix Plus, it breaks up my makeup. So I'm going to go in with my coconut water. And I'm always very generous with it because it's very light. It's not gonna mess up my makeup. But I basically want my concealers and my creams to be moisturized so that they are easier to blend into each other. So I kind of let this dry down about, I don't know, maybe about 75%, and then I start to blend. All right, so I already have everything blended out, and as you guys can see, it blended out so well, and that's what we want. So I basically just continue to pounce the sponge on my face and blend until, you know, I feel like I can't see any harsh lines, because that's what we want. We want that airbrushed flawless look. And feel free, if you feel like you did not work fast enough and some of your products kind of dried down, definitely feel free to just go back in with more of your coconut or rose water. Now I'm gonna go in with my Spun powder and set my face. So I go back and forth between if I like this powder or not, but I think I love it because whenever I use this powder, my face is like another level of beat. Like, my face gonna be beat regardless, you know, don't misunderstand me. But it's like when I use this powder, I don't know, this powder just holds in on my oils. It just literally sets my face in place. Like, it does something a little bit different. So I'm using this powder in the shade Translucent. And then I did mix a little bit of my Fenty banana powder with this, just to kind of take a little bit of the whiteness out of the powder. But I love this powder because it does not have any flashback. Like, it's just a really good powder. So what I like to do is apply a nice little amount underneath my eye area. And I always like to do my eyes first because, like I said, my eyes are prone to creasing. So I try to set those as soon as possible. And for a natural look, I do not bake. I don't really bake anyway. Baking is so, like, I don't know, 2018, 2017. But I will go back and add more powder if I want my highlight to just be a little bit more highlighted, basically. But on a day-to-day basis, usually I just like my face to look beat and clean, okay? Like, I don't want anything that's like really dramatic or harsh. So I usually just, as you guys can see, press the powder into my skin. And this powder, by the way, is so weightless. Like, it's honestly definitely lighter than when I use my Fenty powder by itself. It's just like, I just cannot feel it on my face. It doesn't feel drying. It's just perfect. And it always makes my makeup look so freaking snatched. So if you have not tried this powder, you need to try it. You can get it at like Walgreens. You can get it at Walmart. It's like $5 or $6. It's very, very cheap, but a really good product. So basically, I'm just going with my translucent powder and setting all of my highlighted areas. So now that I have the highlighted parts of my face set, I'm gonna go in with my Dermablend powder and set the rest of my face. So, fun facts, you are absolutely supposed to set your powder with, your face with a loose powder. All right, so me personally, I've always set with the pressed powder, and I didn't know any better until I learned, basically. So you wanna set your powder, your face, why do I keep saying powder? You wanna set your face with a pressed powder, You wanna set your face with a loose powder first to completely set your makeup. And then you wanna go back in and add color. So basically, I'm just gonna be using the Dermablend powder because I feel like this powder is the finest. I cannot record a video without my dogs being ghetto. So basically what I was saying is, you want to record, you want to you want to apply a loose powder first because that's just what you're supposed to do, okay? Just listen to me. Just apply it first. I'm using Dermablend because I feel like this is the finest powder or loose powder that I have. I have YSL powders. I have Spun. I like Spun really just for my highlighted places. I don't think it's fine enough to be applied to my entire face. Okay, so I have my face set with my Dermablend powder. As you guys can see, I have a touch of like a white cast or like just kind of like a dull look. I'm not really glowing yet. So now I'm gonna go in with my MAC Mineralize powder and add some color back to my face. So I used to just set with the Mineralize powder, but for one, I realized I was getting a crazy amount of flashback. This is not the best powder to use if you're gonna, be filmed or if you plan on being in flash photography. However, I don't, so this is what I use day to day. If I know I'm gonna be filmed, I use a different setting powder. But I love this one because it's very, very warm. It's very, very close to my natural complexion. And it just adds a lot of like warmth and glow to my face. And when I used to set my face only with the Mineralized powder, my face used to get so oily. And like my makeup never was really set. And it's just because you're not just supposed to just set your face with the Mineralized powder. It took me years to figure that out. But basically, I'm just going in and out of my product and setting all of my warm areas. Any area that I did not apply highlight to, I'm gonna apply my Mineralized powder. All right, so I'm done with that. As you guys can see, it's already added some color back to my face, which we want. So now I'm gonna go in with my MAC Mineralized powder in the shade Dark Deepest. And this is just to further add a little bit more warmth to my skin. This is not a contour color. This is not what I use to contour. This is just to make sure that my face is balanced and looks, warm and dewy and glowy. You don't want your foundation to look flat. So I'm just going in with Dark Deepest, basically along my cheek lines and down the bridge of my nose. I'm also adding some to my forehead. Okay, so this is pretty much the end of our powder. So before I go in and do anything else to my face, I'm gonna actually go ahead and apply some black eyeliner. I'm gonna go ahead and do that off camera since it's not really a part of my everyday foundation routine. So I'm gonna do this and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've already done my eyeliner and applied my falsies. And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back in with my coconut water and I'm gonna spritz my face. I like to spritz my face right before I apply my blush and concealer because again, the moisture from the coconut water basically just helps my powders not look so powdery because you know, who wanna look casket ready, you know? Nobody. So I like to spray my face down and as it's drying, once it gets to be about again like 75–80% dry, then I'll go in and add in my blush and highlight. So for blush today, I'm gonna be using my MAC Mineralize blush in the shade Sunpower. And I like it. It's just like a burnt orange color. It's very natural. It's just something to wear to just, again, warm up your face. So this is what I like to do on a daily basis. I just like to look rosy, you know, warm. Like I'm healthy. Like I've been eating my veggies. That's how I want to look. So once I've done that, I'll go ahead and spritz my face one more time, just a light layer, because my face is still a little bit wet. But for my highlight, I like my face to be kind of wet, because it just really helps blend in your highlight. There's nothing I hate more than a streaky, chunky highlight that looks like you just got glitter smeared across the top of your face, okay? So I like to spritz my face, and then again, I'm just gonna wait for it to dry and then apply. So for highlight, on a day-to-day basis, I love the Anastasia and Amorzi collaboration. My absolute favorite highlight. I feel like it complements my skin tone so well. It's not too gold, it's not too white. It's that perfect highlight color that I like. And my face is still just a little bit wet, and that's what we want. We don't want it wet enough to where I'm moving around my foundation and my powders. But I just want it wet enough that when new powder touches, that moisture is gonna just melt into my face. Okay, so now that I have my highlight on, I love the way that it's meshing into my face. We are gonna spray one more time before we're done, but my highlight's on, my blush is on, so now it's time for my lips. So remember, we applied that lip plumper earlier, so now my lips are nice and moisturized. I'm just gonna take a napkin and clean them off. Now for lip liner, I'm gonna use my all-time favorite lip liner. I will give you $5, you can guess what it is. Go ahead and guess. Guess. Chestnut. You better have got it right, because that's literally the only lip liner I use. I literally have like 3 lip liners and this is one of them. So I love chestnut just because it's like a warm brown color. I like a few by NYX as well, but chestnut is like my holy grail lip liner. So I'm just gonna line my lips. And as you guys can see, I have a pretty thick line on. I love to wear my lip liner really, really thick. And now I'm gonna go in with a natural lipstick. Day to day, I either wear just lip gloss and lip liner, or sometimes I'll incorporate a lipstick. Today, you know, I wanna be a little extra. So I'm gonna be applying, let's do Cheekies from the NYX Lingerie collection. So I don't actually see a lot of people use these, but these are life. Like, they have a lot of colors. Now you can find them really, really cheap. Like, I bought a few on Amazon for like $3. They're supposed to be like $9. And they're pretty long wearing. So I'm gonna take Cheekies and just rub it in. So So y'all know me, even if I am wearing lipstick, I always still touch it up with a little bit of lip gloss. Unless it's red. I do not like a glossy red lip. Just never look good to me. But I'm gonna be applying the e.l.f. Lip Plumping Lip Gloss in the color Cosmo, which is like a soft baby pink. You could definitely wear this on its own, but I like to put it on top of my soft pink lipsticks. Right, so there we are, and then I'm just gonna touch it up with a little bit more lip liner. And last but not least, I'm gonna give my face a final spritz. So I can either use the Urban Decay All Nighter Spray. This is really great for the summer. This is because it helps to keep your makeup in place. Or I will use the MAC's Prep and Prime Fix Plus. So it's totally up to me. And I think I'm gonna go with MAC today just because I'm actually not gonna be going outside. So I love this just because it gives my face just kind of like a dewy, warm, skin-like finish. So, spray it on. So I like to get my face really wet. Okay, that's what you need to do. If you don't look like you're just going swimming, then you don't have on enough. Like, these don't come with instructions, but I know you're supposed to apply a lot. So make sure you spray, you know, a good amount. Alright guys, so this is the completed look once I have let that final spritz of setting spray go ahead and dry down. And this is just what I do on a daily basis to get, you know, that nice pretty skin-esque beat. It's definitely not a super natural beat, but you know, I was not going for that look. So I absolutely positively love how I'm doing my makeup now. I have seen such a big difference in my foundation routine now versus how I used to do my makeup before. And let's thank the heavens above that I have learned how to step up my skills in that arena, okay? Because you know, I kind of used to be looking a little crazy. So this is pretty much how I do my makeup. I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. And you know, I love y'all. I love y'all. I know y'all love me. I know y'all love me. That's why you watch it. So with that being said, if you really love me like you say you love me, make sure you hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time I upload. And do not leave. Today is the day. Do not leave without hitting that subscribe button. I love you guys all so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video.